The Congressional Budget Office says the Social Security Fund is at risk. It will likely run out of money by 2033. So is Congress ready to act to save it? A key swing vote in the Senate, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia says Congress must discuss options to save the program. So what can be done to reform Social Security and keep it solvent? Well, joining us is the former Principal Deputy Commissioner of the Social Security Administration, American Enterprise Institute Senior Fellow Andrew Biggs. Andrew, thank you for taking the time to discuss this important issue. So we don't have enough younger workers paying into the system right now to cover the cost of their own Social Security. They're only paying for those already retired. So you've been working on reform for many years now. How did we get to this point?
It's just a transfer program. We take money from young people, we give it to old people. And to make that work, you want to have a lot of young people and not so many old people. Unfortunately, we have the reverse.
Why haven't they made real significant reform? Why do they keep kicking the can down the road?
Well, despite what you might think about politicians, they don't like to break promises. And we've made two promises to Americans regarding Social Security that are inconsistent with each other. We've promised a certain level of taxes you pay, 12.4% of your wages. We've also promised a certain benefit formula. If you pay those taxes, you will get these benefits. Now, mathematically, those two can't work. The system is underfunded by about $20 trillion, which means you either need to reduce benefits by $20 trillion over the next 75 years, or you need to increase tax revenues by that amount. Social Security reform involves breaking promises. Those promises maybe should never have been made in the first place, but they were made, and we now have to tell people that we can't keep them. They have to pay more and get less. Politicians don't like telling people that.
What do we need to do then to save the fund? You'd mentioned higher payroll taxes, maybe older age requirement for drawing Social Security. What needs to be done?
The way I think about this now is not just tweaking different parameters to get to solvency, it's thinking fresh about what we want Social Security to do. The reason Social Security is expensive is not because it keeps the poor out of poverty and old age. That's a relatively inexpensive thing to do. The reason Social Security is expensive today is it provides increasingly generous benefits to middle and upper income people who, let's face it, could save for retirement on their own. Somebody making $100,000 a year throughout their career, they're going to get over $42,000 a year from Social Security. That strikes me as unnecessary, and those are the things I think we need to look at.
And I know years ago, when I covered the 2000 presidential campaign, Steve Forbes talked about allowing people to invest some of their payroll tax into private accounts. And you remember politicians blasted him, saying that's risky, it's gambling away people's savings on the stock market. So what do you think of that idea?
Well, I worked for the George W. Bush administration. I was in the Bush White House and the Social Security Administration. George W. Bush strongly favored the idea of letting people invest part of their Social Security taxes in a personal account. That worked at the time because for years, Social Security was running large surpluses. It was collecting more in taxes than it needed to pay benefits. The accounts would have saved that surplus for the future. The problem today is Social Security is already running deficits. If I take my money and put it in a personal account, there isn't enough left to pay for my grandparents' benefits. So I think we need to think today about how we balance the Social Security system on its own, but then put in place provisions to make it easier for people to save for retirement outside of Social Security. Making sure everyone has a chance to get a retirement plan at work, automatically signing people up for those plans.
Well, finally, Senator Manchin says he's on board with the Republicans at least to begin a dialogue on reform. So what are the chances we'll get something done anytime soon, or is Congress just going to keep kicking this can down the road until it's too late?
Well, I think what Senator Manchin is saying is what any reasonable member of Congress would be saying, which is we're going to talk to the other side and we're going to negotiate. That's how these things get solved. They don't get solved by one side saying we're never going to cut benefits, another side saying we're never going to raise taxes. At some point, we're going to come to some agreement. No party can do it on its own, and it's inevitably going to involve a bit of both. The sooner we get this solved, the easier it's going to be. Everybody needs to put their cards on the table, get in a room, and start talking. That's how we fixed these things before, and that's how we'll do it in the future.
Okay, it's all about building consensus. AEI Senior Fellow Andrew Biggs, thank you for providing those insights for our viewers. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.